What up, what up, what up? I'm your host, Miriah, and today I'm joined by a very special guest for Through Her Eyes, Rams content creator, Rams fan, Alexis. Thank you for joining me once again. Good to see you. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me back. It's great to see you as well. Glad to be here.
Chat, what's up? Happy Wednesday. Hope everybody is great today. Just a quick show today. Normally, we do this segment with Steph, but we are unable to get the schedules all worked out. So me and Alexis will be live today, and then I'll be back with Steph tomorrow at our normal time at 3 for the Two Goat Show. So Alexis, before we get into any football talk, I know, like I had just mentioned backstage, that every time I see you, you're doing something new. So, are you still doing Rams content? I know you've been doing improv and acting. Kind of tell me, like, what you've been up to since the last time we got to chat.
Yeah, so yes, I am still doing Rams content. I still have my show that I do with my co-host Jake, Downtown Rams. So that's on twice a week, Monday and Friday nights during the NFL season. So I'm doing that. I am doing improv and acting. I'm at the Second City a lot. I just started their conservatory program, so that's great. Enjoying that. I've just started that. I auditioned a couple I guess a month and a half ago now, and then started that right away. So that's keeping me pretty busy as well, and I really enjoy that. That's a lot of fun. And yeah, just doing all that while trying to enjoy football season, which is like kind of like a religion for me, as I'm sure many of the listeners know what that's like. It's just such a sacred time, and doing way too many fantasy leagues. So that's
Always.
always that's a sickness that I have, and I'm sure, maybe you or other people can relate, but I always overcommit to leagues, always. And so I'm trying to do all of that while doing everything else that's going on, and have had just an absolutely brutal year already with injuries, much like the Rams, which we'll talk about. But a couple
Mhm.
weeks in, and a lot of my fantasy teams are already decimated, so that's great.
Yeah, with fantasy, I swear every season, as it gets closer to the season starting, I tell myself, okay, you're not going to do this many fantasy leagues, like limit yourself, like 2 3 leagues. And then I'm always like, everybody's okay, I get signed up in those leagues, then we just need one more person, come on. And then this people,
Mm-hmm.
come on, we just need a couple more people, come on. It's just like, oh my gosh. Finally
Mm-hmm.
this season though, I'm only in 2 of my own. um and I just had to finally just start telling people, like, I'm sorry, like, I know you need a couple more people, but you got to find them somewhere else. Like, I can't do it. Like, because then I just, like, it gets to the point where I don't even want to even open the app to even look at any of the teams, because it just feels like more of a chore than, something that's fun. And like, I don't want it to be like that. So this season I just put my foot down. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I am the person that people know if they need somebody, they can run to me because I'll cave. And they're like, "Hey, we need one more person in our league. You down to do it?" And I'm always just like, "Sure." So I've tried to limit myself in leagues. It never works. But I do that, and then I also do like just regular sports betting.
Hmm.
Like on Sundays I open up FanDuel or DraftKings or whatever, and I'm throwing down parlays, and so just football season's just another way for me to lose money. It's
Yeah.
just if you're somebody who enjoys losing money, then yeah, it's our time of year.
Yep. All right, so let's get into what's up, Sim. I see you. And what's up, everybody? I see you all. Appreciate you guys. Um, Let me ask you before, we get into the injuries and all that. Even though we're just going into week 3, how did like the way that you feel about the Rams team, has it changed? Like, how was your outlook prior to the season starting, and how is your outlook on the Rams season now starting week 3?
Yeah, I mean it's drastically different. Going into the season, I had really, really high hopes for the Rams team. I thought they can compete in the NFC, with the top teams, 49ers amongst them. I thought that the Rams, were on par with all of those teams. When everyone's healthy, I just felt like they're on paper very, very talented. I thought they had a very good draft. Matthew Stafford has been playing at an elite level still, all last season and going into this season. Guys, we had a lot of stars. I mean, Kyron Williams, Puka Nakua had great seasons last year. Cooper Kupp, fully healthy, was fully healthy going into the season. So hopes were really, really high. And we'd heard a lot of really, really good things coming out of training camp. So yeah, I was very high in the Rams. And then all of a sudden, 2 quarters into the first game of the season, our entire offense just absolutely went down. I've never seen anything like it, if I'm being honest. I thought I was in a nightmare. It was just absolutely brutal, just the way our entire offensive line and then Puka Nakua and now Cooper Kupp. I mean, it's just been devastating. So, yeah, I mean, my outlook is definitely changed. Having to kind of give myself a dose of reality and just tell myself, this is what it is. This is real. And the defense as well has suffered a few injuries, with our secondary. Still mostly healthy for the most part, but I will say the defense has not played as well as I'd hoped, regardless. So you kind of mix those two things together, and the outlook has shifted for the Rams. It's still early, but
Yeah.
it's been brutal.
Yeah, I hate, obviously, you don't want to see, even, you guys being division rivals or whatnot, like you don't want to see injuries happen to anybody. And like this division is so much more fun when the both of our teams are competing and able to be at the top of our game competing each other, right?
Yeah.
Um so like Puka, like I'm a huge Puka fan. Like, I talked about him all last season. I've talked about him to you. Like, I hate that he is on the Rams because like I want to cheer for him, but I feel sick to my stomach having to cheer for somebody that's on the Rams. So but like I didn't know. So that's where everybody like got hurt during the first game because I wasn't sure like where all these injuries came from. If they were like left over from training camp and kind of, or like they just all went down in game one.
So, yes and no. So, Puka had kind of been dealing with an injury through training camp. That was very mild, or so they thought, at least to my recollection. And he went down in the first game. Our offensive line, we were down two starters going into the first game. Rob Havenstein, right tackle, was out, so we had rookie Warren McClendon, who we drafted in the fifth round, was starting at right tackle against the Lions. And then left tackle, we were down our starter, Alaric Jackson, so we had Joe Noteboom. And then, yeah, first quarter, our left tackle, who was already our second string left tackle, goes down. We put in AJ Akuri, who we drafted last year, spent time on the practice spot, does not have a lot of experience, went in at left tackle. Then all of a sudden, second quarter, our left guard, Steve Avila, goes down. We were moving the line around then. Our center, we had through Bo Limmer, who's a rookie at center. We were having to move everybody around. Yeah, down three offensive starters, and everybody's playing positions that they're kind of like not familiar with. So it was just kind of a nightmare situation. Um, then our second game, Cooper Kupp obviously gets injured. Our starting safety gets injured. One of our starting corners is dealing with a lingering injury at corner. And then our kicker gets hurt. We find out yesterday our rookie kicker, who we drafted, who's been great for us, has a groin
Mm-hmm.
injury. And I'm sitting here
Wow.
going, what is going on? This is like dark magic or something, because it's yeah, just the season is just really, it's snowballed, these injuries. And um I'm worried about everybody else just with the energy that's in the air. I'm like, what's going to happen next? So yeah, the first game I think was just really brutal. I think that some injuries were sustained there that ended up impacting the second game. And then
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp, yeah, got injured in the second game.
Um So, a little bit staying on the injuries, Steph had sent me over a couple questions. One thing that she had wanted to know, on a scale of 1 to 10, you talk about obviously your O line, being down all these guys. Like, how much faith do you have in the O line that you have left to be able to keep Stafford, upright and protected all season?
The line that played against the Cardinals, I mean, like a 3, if 10 is most confident. I mean, the line that played against the Cardinals was absolutely like just terrifying to watch. There was no time for Stafford to do anything. And then we couldn't really get the run game going either because they were folding so quickly that, Kyron would get the ball and he was getting tackled. So that line, not so much. I think it sounds like in the next couple of weeks, probably not against the 49ers, we're going to get a starter or two maybe back. I'm hoping. When this Rams offensive line is healthy, I mean, I think that they're very talented. I mean, we got Jonah Jackson, from the Lions, who's
Mhm.
also going to significantly help. Steve Avila last season, rookie, did really great for us. So yeah, when they're healthy, I total confidence. I think Stafford would look like a rock star back there. The problem is our second and third string have not impressed much. So when you have these starters going out, it's just been kind of a bloodbath for Matthew Stafford, who unfortunately is pretty used to taking, I think, big hits throughout his
Mhm.
career, especially when he was playing in Detroit. Um, but I just don't think it's sustainable for him if the offensive line keeps playing this way, and also for our run game too. It's
Right.
not good to take those hits. So, yeah, I'm hoping that within the next couple of weeks we start to beef up the offensive line a little bit more and things improve.
Speaking about Matt Stafford, and taking these hits, is he healthy right now? Does he seem hobbled already to you? Like, what's Matt Stafford like health like? I know, obviously what it says or lack thereof on the injury report, but being a fan and being somebody that watches the team so closely, like, what's it look like? Like, how's he looking to you?
I mean, he was limping in both games, towards, in the second half, especially in the Cardinals game. He was over the sideline getting his ankle taped. He took some hits where his ankle got rolled up, and it's just in his nature to fight through it, I think, throughout his
Mhm.
career. So, it was never, is he going to come out unless he really gets hurt. So he's been playing through it, but I wouldn't say he's fully healthy at all. I mean, watching the games, definitely limping around, definitely feeling the pressure of having just a very abysmal offensive line play. So yeah, it's disheartening to watch.
And then as far as his backup, obviously, we're well aware that you guys have Jimmy Garoppolo now, but he was suspended just the first 2 games, right?
Yeah, so he'll be back as the backup this week.
So he's your like number 2.
hmm Yeah.
So I think that's pretty funny that, like the 49ers fans were talking that, he's the one that's like pretending to be Purdy, like on the scout team in practice. Like that has to suck, like being pretending to be the quarterback that ultimately took your job from the last
Yeah.
franchise, like
It's
um
probably weird. I'm sure it's very
yeah.
like it hurts and it's probably weird.
It is. And like I didn't even think about it. And then I saw somebody post that earlier today and I'm like, man, like that's gotta be pretty crazy because like obviously we know how his shortstop went for the Raiders. And I
Yeah.
don't think like we met up with them, I think in the preseason while he was with the Raiders. But not like, something that meant anything. So this game will, be I guess the matchup. But hopefully, for your guys' sake, we don't have to see Jimmy Garoppolo on the field anytime soon because we know that he
Yeah.
won't last. He for sure is not going to last behind a busted up O line. So let's just hope for everybody's sake that Matt can stay healthy. Um, so another question that Steph had asked, we've talked about obviously Puka and Cup being out. Your guys' starting tight end from previous years, he had got hurt at the end of last season, right? So he's
Yeah, he
still
got
out.
Yeah, he tore his ACL when we played the Lions in the wild card game.
So
So
who
he's
are
still out,
your
yeah.
weapons that like who's Matt
So
Stafford supposed to be throwing to against the 49ers?
so for our receiving core, we've got Demarcus Robinson. We have Tyler Johnson, who has actually surprised me for us. And then we've got a rookie Jordan Whittington, who rookie. So he's theoretically been wide receiver 5. He's now moved up to like wide receiver 3 with the injuries. And then we have a Tutu Atwell, who is been on the team now for a while, so we can um, rely on him. I think he's used to the system and playing. He doesn't really get much playing time when everybody's healthy, but I think he's gonna emerge, and he has the ability, I think, to be pretty solid. Then our tight end is Colby Parkinson, who we signed from the Seahawks, so he's used to the NFC uh, West, familiar with the landscape. So, and then we had Davis Allen, who it's his second year at tight end for us, but he also got injured. So, never mind. I forgot about that. Another injury we have, he didn't practice this week. So yeah, I mean it's a new mix of guys, really. I mean everybody I mentioned, it's a weird um probably for people who aren't Rams fans hear these names and are like, that's such a random like group of
Mm-hmm.
people. And it is. I mean, it really is. I mean, we have Kyron Williams as well. He's still healthy, thankfully. So he's, running back one. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to get him involved more in the passing game. Kyron has honestly I mean, he's great at so many things, and I think everybody saw that last season, but
Yeah.
he is a very good pass protector. One of the best, in my opinion, pass pro running backs in the league. So, like we saw last week, I mean, he was in there blocking almost always in pass pro. And like I was like, he's blocking better than some of the guards in there. So I think he's going to stay in that role probably against the 49ers. I think that the Rams are going to rely on Kyron to help pick up some blocks. And maybe we'll get our rookie. We've got Blake Corum, who's a
Yeah.
rookie running back, and so maybe they'll try to get him involved as well. But yeah, it's a new mix of guys for sure.
I know a lot of people seem to be surprised. I mean, from hearing, like I'll be in spaces with, a variety of different NFL fans. And I don't know if it's like a fantasy thing, but like they seem to be very surprised that Corum hasn't got you know, like more touches as of yet, especially with all the injuries. But
Yeah.
maybe, like you said, that starts coming now with Kyron having to block. And we know as 49er fans know all about, obviously with George Kittle, half of his career has been wasted with him having to make up for a shitty O line. And, like that's one of our biggest gripes that we've had, especially, with Kyle, like spend some money on your O line, not just a left tackle, like you have an entire rest of O line there. And
Yeah.
let George get out there and actually catch some passes. Like, like we know how great he can be when he's used as a receiving weapon. And it's like we hardly get to see that because he has to be in there making up for shit O line.
Yeah, no, and yeah, especially just with the health of this offensive line, I think they're definitely gonna rely on Kyron a little bit more. And yeah, maybe we will see Blake. I think Rams fans were surprised too. I mean, I'm not entirely surprised. I think, Kyron was always running back one. I think they drafted Blake Corum because he's so similar to Kyron, and that, if Kyron got injured, they wanted to be able to keep their same game plan and just plug and play both of them. But maybe they'll look to do more of a running back type duo against the 49ers. I think the Rams are definitely going to have to get creative with these injuries. So I won't be surprised if they go out and try something new.
Um, Are there any other names that, besides what you just mentioned for, as your receivers, any other names of, guys that maybe other fans aren't aware of that you could see stepping up now that, maybe their position has opened up, whether it's O line or on the defensive side, any other spots across your injured offense, defense?
Yeah, I would say with the receiving core, a name to watch out for would be Jordan Whittington, the rookie that I mentioned, because I think he's got a really unique skill set, and it sounds, I know, blasphemous to say, but some people have looked at him kind of like a baby Debo Samuel. I mean, he's obviously not Debo Samuel, but the way that he plays and his skill set is like very like Swiss Army knife like he's able to kind of do a ton of these different things, and we've kind of seen flashes of it. We saw it a lot in preseason when he was out there, and then the first two games we've kind of seen flashes of it. So now with Cooper Kupp out, I do wonder if Sean McVay is going to be looking to use a lot more of Jordan Whittington. I still think he's wide receiver three. I think that, you've got Demarcus Robinson and Tyler Johnson ahead of him, but I would keep an eye on him. I think that that could be potentially interesting for the Rams. On the defensive side of the ball, rookie Jared Verse, he was our first round pick, and he has been in a defense that has not played well so far this season. I mean, Jared Verse has been the shining light. He's played very well as a rookie coming off the edge. I think that I expect him to be involved against the 49ers like he has the first two games of the season. So he's a rookie I would say to look out for. And then Kobe Turner, who was a rookie last year on our defensive line, had an incredible season. So I'd say look out for him. Uh, yeah, I mean, defense has not been a bright spot for the Rams so far this season, but I would say look out for those two guys.
I like it. I like it. A couple more things. So, if I were to ask you this, both sides, if you guys were to win or if you guys were to lose. So, if the Rams were to win, it's going to be because of, and if the Rams are to lose this game, it's going to be because of what?
If the Rams are going to win, it's because Matthew Stafford is going to, in Matthew Stafford fashion, find a way to overcome his bad offensive line, and he is going to distribute the ball to guys like Jordan Whittington, Tyler Johnson, Demarcus Robinson, Kyron Williams, Colby Parkinson, and he's gonna put the offense on his back and tear up the 49ers defense. That's the only way that I could see this happening is Sean McVay is gonna have to reach deep into his bag and get very creative, which is typically a strong suit of his. So I think that he's really gonna have to work with Matthew, and they are gonna have to quickly get the ball out and just say we're just gonna basically do the 2 minute drill the entire game, and we are
Right.
going to just absolutely throw the ball. I also think that they're gonna have to get the run game involved a little bit more than they have been. I think we're gonna have to see Kyron Williams step up. I think we're gonna probably have to see a little bit of Blake Corum. So I don't know if that really is a great answer for how the Rams are gonna win. I think essentially if the Rams are gonna win, Matthew Stafford is just going to have a classic balls to the wall game. I think he's going to have to really put the offense on his back and just take total control and 2 minute drill the entire game. Just get the ball out quick. Don't give himself any time to get sacked or feel that pressure. And then hope that the 49ers defense has a bad game. So that would be probably how I think the Rams will win. If the Rams are going to lose, the defense is going to have to do what they did last week and just absolutely collapse. I mean, the defense last week just played very uninspiring. They were looked very confused, and it is a young defense. We have a new defensive coordinator as well. Obviously, the loss of Aaron Donald, I think, has shaken things a little bit. But I mean, they played well against the Lions in Sunday Night Football. I mean, the defense gave the Lions offense a really hard time, so it was surprising to see them go out against the Cardinals and just have a meltdown. But I think that if they're going to lose against the 49ers, the same thing is going to happen. I think the defense is going to go out there, they're going to be completely lost, and they're going to get torn up by, Purdy and Debo Samuel if he plays. It sounds like he's not
Yeah, he's
actually.
out.
So yeah, that's right. So just the 49ers offense, I think, if they are playing at the top of their game and if the Rams defense played like they did last week, it could get very ugly. So that to me is how the Rams lose, is the defense just doesn't show up again in week 3.
Yeah, the defense, your defense has an easier job with, like we said, Debo's out, obviously CMC is out. Jawan Jennings has been stepping up even, when Ayuk and Debo are on the field. So, I would expect him to get used a lot more in this game. And then Ayuk has kind of been, obviously we know, he was out all off season, and looks like he's just trying to get back into football shape. He had a huge drop in the first game, and this second game, it just kind of seemed like most of the game he was running wide open out there. And I don't know if Purdy decided he didn't want to trust him, if Shanahan decided he was in the doghouse, if who the hell knows when it comes to Shanahan what's going on. But he wasn't used very much or even looked for very much in the second game. But now they're not going to have a choice, right? They're going to have to look for Brandon Ayuk. You're paying him $30 million a year to be a wide receiver one. I would hope that, like your quarterback would be looking for him. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know. I'm kind of worried, with Debo and CMC both being out. Obviously, if one or the other was there, like they kind of both do similar things, but with them both being out, it's going to be very interesting to see what Kyle pulls up, and especially going against, somebody like McVay, even with all of your injuries, give me a score prediction for this game. Who do you have winning?
So I have the 49ers winning, as much as it pains me to say. Just if I'm betting and I'm trying to get this right, I think, the Rams, they're just beat up.
Yeah.
I can't, seeing how beat up they are, and then also, what happened last week, and then going against a team, as good as the 49ers are, I just think it has the potential to get ugly if the Rams can't find a way to overcome all that. So as far as a score prediction, I've gone back and forth. I'm gonna say like 24-13 49ers. I don't know if that seems like low scoring. Like I said, it could be worse than that. If the Rams even lose anybody. That's the thing, is like if the Rams go into the game and they lose another starter, I mean, it could
Right.
just be brutal. And then also, like I mentioned, the way the defense played last week was very concerning to me, injuries aside. So I have 24-13 49ers. Um, I don't, unfortunately, don't think it's going to go the Rams' way. It's a long season. I hope that they can overcome these things and get people healthy by the time we meet again. But just where we're at right now, really nervous about it. So that's where my head's at.
Yeah. Where do you think, the last question, I'll let you get out of here. Where do you think the Rams end up finishing, like in the division wise?
You know what? I thought they really could win the division before all the injuries. I'm not gonna lie. I really thought, based on their schedule, I do those NFL like schedule predictors where I see who everybody plays. I thought the way the schedule shook out, the Rams had a really good shot to win the NFC West. I obviously thought it was going to be between the Rams and the 49ers. The way that the injuries are going, and I do think the Cardinals have gotten a lot better. Having played them last week, I don't want to say pleasantly surprised me, because I'm bummed. Obviously, I don't want them to be good, but from a non-objective football perspective, I've thought, oh, they're actually a lot better than I thought they were going to be. I think the Rams right now, if could battle for second. I mean, I don't, it just, it ask me in 2 weeks when I know more about the injury situation, because there's a very real possibility things can go downhill very, very quickly for the Rams if anybody else gets hurt. Um, like as of right now, I would say maybe try and fight it out for third. But I think that if they can overcome these things, they could battle out for second as of now.
I like it. I like
Yeah.
it. All right. Alexis, I appreciate you for doing this with us again this season. I definitely can't wait to see how, I think when do we meet?
Is
Towards
it
the end, right?
I yes, I think it is like the second to last game of the season. Second or third,
Yeah,
like
so
very towards the end.
we have
So,
a lot might change between now and then. But
yeah.
I hope, for all after this week, I hope you guys get healthy and, do good things, because obviously, even though, being from the other side, I was expecting obviously the Rams to be good this season as well, to be up there competing with us. And like I said, I would much rather, you guys be healthy and competitive. It's a lot more fun in this division when it's like that. We know those
Yeah.
other two teams are, they suck over there. So we can't expect much out of them very often. So, if it's not the 49ers or the Rams, we're in trouble around here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely we'll be back next time the 49ers and Rams face off towards the end of the season. Everybody, please make sure that you guys go like, subscribe, follow Alexis. The info is in the description box of this video, to her podcast, to her on Twitter, X, whatever you call it these days. Just go click over there. Even though it's enemy territory, we like to show love around here. So go give her a subscribe, go give her a follow. It's much appreciated. Chat, I'll be back tomorrow with Steph, 3 Pacific time for the 2 Goat Show. Until then, everybody have a safe and wonderful night. We're out of here.